Are you a sad individual living under a Parisian opera house and dropping chandeliers on people's heads for fun? Well, you may want to stop because that's a crime and get yourself a podcast. How do you do that? Easy. It's with Anchor. Anchor is a totally free app and website, and you can record from your phone or your computer. You don't need fancy schmancy equipment. Seriously, I have recorded podcasts from my bathtub while I was bathing. Anchor is free and super easy to use. Anchor has really simple podcasting tools. You sign up and then you start podcasting. It really is that simple. Within an hour of starting my podcast, I was already distributed on Spotify. Now I'm on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and Radio Public. So look for the app or the website. The website is anchor.fm, and the app, just go to your friendly local app store and look up Anchor. That's ANCHOR. Happy podcasting! Hello, my happy fruits. Welcome to the Koi Slutty Breakfast podcast. And today we will be discussing my reactions from Season 2, Episode 1 of Westworld, Journey into Night, and my predictions for what's gonna happen next. It's gonna be a wild ride, so buckle in. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited and I had such fun watching this episode. I heard people had some complaints about it. Somebody said that I wouldn't like it as much as I like the first episode of the first season, and I gotta disagree. I liked it a lot, and I have a lot of really wild theories about it. So first of all, before I go into the first one, that's probably just gonna sound completely insane, but makes perfect logical sense to me. And we have to talk about the episode, which starts with either Arnold or Bernard interviewing Dolores, and he's a little worried. She seems a little too good, so I think that we're looking at Arnold and Dolores, and then we go to the Bernard being woken up on the beach. Now, Bernard has apparently lost his memory, and there's something that happens because he ends up, and this isn't like a full recap of the episode, this is just thoughts about what's leading to next, because I'm just trying to hurry up and finish this, because I've been wanting to see this, but I just really haven't had the time, and with quarantine, I've got all the time in the world. So Bernard goes with Charlotte to one of those elevator things that go underground, and there's like a little ID hole with a bunch of equipment and a drone host, which basically looks like a white skinless person. Like, you can see musculature, and that's pretty much it. They don't have a face, which intriguing. And there's something about like brain fluid, only the robot, so it's not exactly brain fluid. But anyway, it turns out that Delos is taking DNA samples from people, and apparently Bernard didn't know about this, so either this has been done on the sly and it's like a gross violation of privacy, or wait, because remember when I said in the last episode of the season 1 was that I really wanted to see them do the whole future world thing about body snatching? What if Bernard, the Bernard that we see on the beach, is not Bernard? What if it's somebody in a Bernard body? Because I was watching this and I was thinking, Westworld is gonna try and trick me something. I know your game's Westworld. So I'm looking for things that don't add up. And just the way he reacted was weird. But I wasn't convinced until the end, to where he saw what looked like Teddy's body. Is it possible that Teddy could be in Bernard's body. And that's like basically why he knows nothing. Because it makes sense that he would know how to take care of himself as like a fully self-aware being, you know? Like, so the thing with the needle and the slurping the brain juice, with the needle, he didn't do it zombie style, which is kind of a shame. That would have been interesting. But the most important thing in theorizing is that Asher Stubbs is alive. And he hasn't really done anything to say whether or not he's a host or not. I said that twice, didn't I? Ooh, I'm so good at this. But anyway, he seems okay. And there's a Swedish guy, Strand, I think the last name is. I was not watching with subtitles, so I may be misreading or like what his name is. I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't want to look at IMDb or something because spoilers. Because, I mean, there could be, like, saying people that, like, oh, so-and-so is this character and this character, and I want it to be a surprise. I want to be able to theorize and not have it spoiled for me. So I was really pleased to see Stubbs alive. Who we haven't seen, Elsie, who I at first assumed was dead, but, they probably would have shown her body the way they did Teresa's, so she might still be alive. That's really interesting. So, they have to find Abernathy's body. That's Dolores' father, the original guy. Oh man, that guy was such a good actor. I'm really excited. I hope we get to see him because like that man's acting was just it was so good. One of the things that like even though the show like can be kind of slow, which I don't mind. I like the long as long as it tells an interesting story. Like I don't mind if it kind of meanders and like gets to know the characters. But so yeah, I'm really excited to see the dude who plays Abernathy again. That's gonna be cool. Dolores is embracing her inner Wyatt and going on a rampage, which I mean, I kind of don't blame her. Like after everything she's been through, it's like I can understand feeling justified just killing everybody who would torture you. I mean, is it the right? Is it moral? Is it just? Probably not. But I can understand the inclination. And I like Dolores. And we saw Teddy's body. Is Teddy dead? I don't know. Because like I said, he could be in Bernard's body. And I have no idea. Like, it just clicked. It was like, oh, the way he's looking at Teddy, that's not the way Bernard would look at Teddy. Or maybe Dolores is in Bernard's body. That would be cool. That would be so neat. So, let's see. We know Stubbs is alive. We know Angela's alive, which is good. I like Angela. We haven't seen Armistice. Hector and Maeve are alive. Maeve made Lee strip, which was I liked it because of all the times that she's been vulnerable, like turning the table on that was good to see. I'm excited. I'm really pumped. I honestly have no idea what's going to happen next. I hope that Abernathy shows up in the next episode. That would be really cool. And see, I don't think Charlotte's gonna last long. I I don't know. I don't think she's long for this world. Uh if Elsie's alive, I thought she was kind of awful, but she's a lot nicer than some people. So, like, in that way, she's not that terrible. I am curious about Felix and Sylvester. I'm kind of assuming that they die too. Like, because neither of them are, like, really fighters, and all the gunfighting, I don't think that they're around. Oh, I almost forgot another wild theory, which is based on other media I've seen. So there's mention of the valley beyond. Um, Dolores kills a man because she didn't want to go to the valley beyond. And I think that just because based on what we know of Dolores' character and how she's like obsessive about getting out and finding our world and destroying it, I'm thinking that the Valley Beyond is like the City of Light from The 100. If you haven't seen the show, highly recommend it. Good stuff. But anyway, spoilers, in the third season, there's this basically, it's like a VR. Basically, people's essence is stored into like a cloud storage type thing. And so that if after you're dead, the person can still, their consciousness can basically live on in this place called the City of Light. And that just, the way that she sounded, like when she said the words the Valley Beyond, that's what made me think of. Now I have no idea if that's not true, or if that is true. Wow, words are good, aren't they? But I think that it's like basically a place where you can basically be uploaded to, but it's not real. And Dolores wants the real thing. I mean, really, who can blame her after like 30 years of torture? Yeah, and keep in mind, she remembers all of it. So, like, it may seem kind of like an overreaction over the relatively short period of like the first season, which is like 10 or 12 hours. She's been suffering for a while and just remembering it recently, and that is a lot to deal with. So, I mean, I personally don't think I'd go homicidal, but for that long, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I thought that was intriguing. So that's is something to look out for. Let's see. I'm gonna predict that Charlotte's gonna die the next episode. And even though, like, I'd really like Elsie to be alive, just because it wouldn't be as sad for poor Bernard, because, like, he actually, like, he didn't know. I would like to think he didn't kill her, but I don't think that he could have resisted Ford's command. So, I think she's dead. I think that they're gonna find her body next episode. And I think, I hope that we find out more about, and episode 5, we're getting Spa World. Okay, I am manifesting it into being, even though the show aired 2 years ago. Alright, so, have a hoopy day, keep it fruity, bye. Hello, and welcome to this Kawaii Slutty Breakfast podcast. I am Sarah, your favorite manic pixie dream cryptid, and we will be discussing season 2, episode 2 of Westworld, called Reunion. Who's reunioning? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. So let's find out together. What is going on in this show? This is wild. Have a lot to talk about. So first of all, it's called The Reunion. So let's talk about who's reuniting, because that's definitely a word. So we have Maeve and Dolores, who have not had much screen time together. I think the last time we saw them together was like back in the beginning of season 1. I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate, which is wild to think about, because like they're so important to the story, but they really don't interact like almost at all. But anyway, so we have young William and Dolores, and young William. Can you believe that during this I actually felt bad for Logan? Like the actor who plays him is really good. So yes, we have young William and Logan, and Logan and Dolores meeting. Apparently, like, Logan's a nihilistic heroin addict now, and because the world's ending. I'm not sure if he was like just being melodramatic because of drugs, or like there's like literally a disaster that's gonna end the world in this universe, but that was interesting. So didn't see Charlotte, didn't see Elsie. This was mostly like back and forth and flashbacks. Bernard took Dolores and a bunch of other hosts off the park, which I did not see coming at all. Like, I thought that they'd stayed there the entire time, but that makes it so much more interesting, because this means that his interest in Dolores was before his son died, which kind of plays things, and I'm not sure exactly when this all took place, because obviously like the first party was before the park opened, and then there was the retirement party where young William was still pretty youngish, and after that I'm presuming is when he had his little rude chit chat with Dolores. But it doesn't like say years, so I have no idea. But something occurred to me when I was watching this episode, and it was that the last one, Charlotte was trying to contact Delos, and they're like, no, you need the package, meaning Abernathy. Unfortunately, we don't see him either. It's kind of a bummer, but that's okay though. So anyway, so they're like, yeah, we're not gonna distract you. Now, William is the majority shareholder of the park. So, I mean, is he not affiliated? I mean, no, obviously he has to be affiliated with Delos, because, like, in last season he had that chat with Charlotte. So, they have to know he's there. Do they just not care? Like, wouldn't they be worried that, like, this massive philanthropist is stuck and, like, there's no contact? I don't know. It's like, I just can't imagine people, like, hearing, like, Microsoft hearing, like, Bill Gates being stuck there and being like, no, whatever, you know? So, in this episode, we meet Logan's father, James Delos, who is Scottish and dying, apparently. Doesn't care much for Chopin, which I thought was pretty funny, because Chopin died of tuberculosis, and this dude obviously has some respiratory things going on. He was coughing a lot. So the Valley Beyond could be a weapon? Maybe. I don't know. That's just going by what Dolores was saying. And another thing that I thought was really, really interesting was that apparently not all the hosts remember everything. Apparently that's only Dolores and Maeve. And I'm curious if Dolores and Maeve can unlock those memories for the other hosts, because, like they said, there's, like, so much space in there that, like, it just needs to be overwritten, but there wouldn't possibly be that much data that it would need much overwriting. You know what I mean? So, like, there could be some of the memories locked inside, but like a regular hard drive, it, you know. So hopefully next episode we'll get more of Bernard's story. Really interested in him. I love Jeffrey Wright. he is such a good actor. And William has this thing about feeling judged improperly, and he wants to go and be rejudged again. I really don't understand what William's doing. Like, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I really hope that the show will actually explain what he means, because he said that he wanted to make it right. Now, what does he mean about when he was judged? Does he mean that his wife dying? That he felt that it was a judgment on him? Or society judging him because his wife killed herself? I'm not sure, and it's very confusing. So, honestly, I have no idea where this is going, and that really, really excites me. There's been so much going expecting. Like, I didn't expect Alonso's troops to all shoot themselves in the head. That was kind of horrifying, but I mean, exciting because it wasn't expected. But I'm hoping that we'll get more of Bernard and Charlotte's interactions, because I think that these two characters are fascinating, because as far as we know, she thinks that he's a person. And something, sorry, but something from last episode, it just occurred to me that was kind of weird, and I don't think I mentioned it. Bernard puts his hand on the door, and it's supposed to test for his DNA. How? He is a robot. Robots do not have DNA. So has Dulles already been doing shady DNA shit? Or were they just like, we're gonna say it's DNA, but it's really a handprint scan, and the DNA is connected to the handprint, and if you have this handprint, we're gonna assume that you have that DNA. And if that's true, then why call it a DNA test instead of a handprint test? Does that make any sense at all? Anyway, I'm gonna go off and watch the next episode and see if I can figure out what's going on, and actually make interesting predictions. Okay, have a good day and keep it fruity.